To Winnipeg we go. Winnipeg. Oh,
Jamie
no.
McLennan.
Oh, no.
Hi, guys.
How we doing?
I'm good. Just living the dream here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. It's all good.
November 14th. That's what they say. It's high season. I hope you got your
Glad
hotels
you got a
early,
hotel
so
room.
you're not just, right
I looked
next to the elevator.
I actually looked at flights last night, and they were
Really?
like $1,000. I'm like, sheesh. I don't know if I could spend that kind of dough to go to Winnipeg. But now that I know I can stay in your room, I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm
save the money
coming.
there.
I have 2 double beds here.
2 beds.
Oh, I want to bunk up. buddy.
Yep, I got it. You're welcome to come, although I'm flying out, so you can have my room.
How long do you have the room?
You're
for?
not going to stay and watch my Riders kick? What?
Are
They're
they?
going to beat up on the Alouettes?
I believe they are favorites, aren't they, by 4 points or something?
Aren't you there to do like the Grey Cup shows? Like you're asking us who's the favorite?
Grey Cup is yes, it's front and center. Yes, very excited for it. But yes,
Is
no,
there-
I know who's playing, and I talked to Luke Wilson last night about it. He thinks Saskatchewan is a little bit better team, but he goes, don't sleep on Montreal. Don't sleep on
'cause
Tell
they're
that Luke Wilson,
quarterback.
if he's going to shit talk my Riders, I'm coming to Winnipeg. I got to go after him.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I told this story on air yesterday. I did not say a name, but I said I had a buddy that once streaked across the CFL field and went and jumped in the hot tub. Remember, there was a hot tub in the end zone. And I said,
What stadium is this? The hot tub?
there was a hot tub in the end zone. I believe it was in Saskatchewan.
Well, there was one in Edmonton they had.
Okay.
Well, and I said I had a buddy that did that, and I believe he spent the night in the clink. I don't know. I can't remember what happened, but these
Usually
things
how those
happen. The CFL fans, they're
Passionate.
Yeah, your memory's getting foggy, hey, James?
yeah.
Could that be?
Yes, naked streaker.
Yeah.
So is there lots of festivities going on? Or are you participating? Or are you just
Honestly, this is how big of a nerd I was. I came back to my room after the show. I ordered an omelet, and I wanted breakfast for dinner last night. I don't know why. So I ordered an omelet, Uber Eats, and I watched the Leaf game into the Edmonton game into the Flames game. So
He's done his homework.
watched 3 games last night, and I did watch one of the best sequence of saves last night, in my opinion, was at the 12-minute mark with 3 in period 3, and it was Calgary's goalie, and showing how good of feet he has to get from right to left and recover off plays. And I'm sitting there going, like, this guy is so good when he's on, like so good. That's a star. Like, that's a superstar goaltender. When he's needed, made a couple good saves and got a little, I would say fortunate bounces, but he was on top of even Toffoli and alone. It catches him high. He doesn't know where the rebound is, but he's able to readjust. Like, I'm sitting there looking at it going, there would be 25 other teams that would kill to have that type of goaltending, anyways, he was fantastic. The team played very well. I heard you guys before I came on. Was a solid 60 minutes. It wasn't, I didn't think San Jose had a ton of chances, but they had some really good looks and the goaltending, and everybody held up, and you got a big win. You got to feel good about it.
I remember you telling me, and I'll bring it up from time to time, about Kiprasov, and it's not to compare Wolf to Kiprasov, but just you would remark about how even if Kipper didn't see, if it was a shot even through traffic that he didn't see, as soon as it hit him, he knew exactly where it was. It's right in front of me. It's on its way to the corner. It's back in the slot. It's right here. Even if he can't corral the puck, he knows where it is, so he can react to it. I feel like Wolf does have a bit of that. There was one last night. It felt like it fooled him. It was like, oh, that's rare, where it kind of hit him and then came out this when he was like, oh shit, and then he was late to react to it.
Yeah,
he's got good awareness as to where that thing is.
Well, his instincts are very strong, and the best part about him is his extremities. Like, he's got great hands and feet, and I mean that's as a goaltender, that's all you crave to have. Like, you watch. I'll give you an example. I watched Calvin Pickard give up some goals yesterday, where you go side to side and he opens up the leg and the leg comes up, and where I'm watching Wolf and it's just adjustment, slide over, flush. Do I wish that Wolf was 6'5"? Yes, I think we all do, but he might not move like that if he was 6'5", but he's got tremendous instincts, tremendous feet. he does remind me of Kipper in a lot of different veins. Like the feet Kipper had at 6'1", the best feet I've ever seen. Like he just had most Finnish goaltenders that trained under Jupi Jalonen, the goaltender coach over there, and then Warren Strelo in San Jose. They had great feet, and Wolf has unbelievable feet. So he gives you a chance. And last night, he got a little goal support, not a lot, but you'll take 2, and that's all it took. But
one with a goalie in the net.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
but yeah.
You'll take the 1, and nice play by Coleman, so you give him his flowers. But at the end of the day, just even from the Flames organization standpoint, it's nice to get a win. Maybe keeps the flies off for a couple days, and just you can have some positivity around instead of walking around head down. Rhett, you know what it's like.
I've been harping on that the whole time, where it's like, don't bother with that. And it's easy to say for where we sit, but I think that's the biggest. They stayed over in Ottawa instead of going to Nashville after the game, and they can do whatever they want. But the point I keep bringing up, don't oversteer this ship. This team, your biggest fear for this team, the way to lose them is to video and get to bed and more broccoli and just if you want this team to do anything, you better make it the funnest environment you can, the happiest, loosest, most enjoyable, not off the hook as far as performance, but loose, but loose as far as
environment,
a jersey or some sort of skit, or I said, get the bingo machine out to put the lines together, whatever it is, get guys laughing and having fun, because that's going to go further than overcoaching.
It will, but it also, like anything, a win helps. A win just helps with the attitude. Guys will get up today and feel a little bit lighter, feel pretty good about themselves, and then they can get back to work. And you see what happens, or what's around the corner 48 hours from now. But I like it, and it's not a game of perfect. But I thought the goaltender was perfect last night, and I thought the team played very well. It's not like they gave up 28 high danger chances either. I thought they were good. It was, San Jose had a couple looks, and but it's nice. I think it's nice to get a win. Doesn't change a lot from the bigger picture that you guys have all been talking about and we've been talking about. But what it does is it gives some confidence. Like, I want to see this team when they're capable of playing to their capabilities, like where they're at their capabilities. And that's Wolf too, consistently playing well, because we've seen up and down, and he still finds a way to get to 900 save percentage, but sometimes it's uglier because they're giving up chances and he's battling, or he's down early a couple goals and fighting. But I'd like to see some more consistency even in his game, just from start to start.
I'd say the Flames have kind of been there. Obviously, they were the better team last night. We had no qualms with how they played against St. Louis. We thought they were good against Minnesota. They just didn't get it right. The 4-0 against Chicago. Okay, there's that blip. Yep. But against, they beat Columbus 5-1. From where we were 3 weeks ago, where it's like they may never win another game based on how they were playing. The effort and the try and that, they don't look like a team that's broken right now. They just look like a team they're fighting hard, but they're struggling to score.
It's going to get tougher and tougher, though, like just being in the position they are in as far as standings, to sadly stay motivated, because it's going to get closer to Christmas. You're going to get the schedules busy. I think it's going to, those guys are older. You're going to start going, am I going to grind this out here? I don't know. It is what it is, but
I think if you have we'll call it 3 games a week. There might be 4, there might be 5, there might be only 2. Let's call it 3 to 4 games a week. If you can find a way to get points in a couple of them, what you're doing is there's some positive influx in some negativity, and that keeps. I'm talking more about the spirit of the group, and then I come back to believing in Connie, believing in a vision, believing in what you think is best for this organization in the short term, the medium term, and the long term. And I believe 100% in Connie and his staff. I really do, and I want to give them, afford them.
They're doing the right things. Even Karen's coming up as a sign that they're going to start to implement some kids, isn't it?
I think so. but that's not a bad thing to see in the organization. But you can do that. I would like to do that in a positive environment, and just exactly what you just said, Rhett. Like, the coaching staff is fantastic. I think they're locked in. I think the group understands. They're working hard. A couple of weeks ago, it wasn't going well, but you could feel like they had more. I'd like to see more of what guys are capable of. And if they fall short, so be it. If they don't, then you're right there and you're getting some points and you're hanging into it.
Is that part of the thing? I mean, they ain't making the playoffs. But 3 weeks ago, let's say, they were still that inner workings where you're like, we need to turn it on now, and we got to get 6 wins in a row, and we're going to get right back into it. Is there almost less pressure now and somewhat of an acceptance? They would never admit this to us, but you know what I mean? Where they're like,
I'm trying to remember. I don't know, Rhett, you weren't with us in 01, right?
No.
Okay, so I was there in 01. I think that was the year that Daryl took over near the end.
02.
Daryl came the year before they made the playoffs. Yeah, they won.
That year there was Greg Gilbert, and then I think Daryl took over. But I'm trying to remember what things were like for me just personally. How did I come to the rink? How did I prepare? How did I think? And I don't know if it changed. Like, I came from the Minnesota Wild. We knew we weren't making the playoffs. You still had fun. You still worked really hard, and you tried to win every night. You're worrying about yourself. I'm not sitting there like we watched the standings, and I'll never forget, I'm on an expansion team, and I'm sitting on the bench, and Sean O'Donnell's sitting beside me. And, his nickname's Fred Flintstone. He looks exactly like Fred Flintstone. So I look at him, what's up, Fred? And he was laughing because he goes, look at what's on the ice right now. We were playing Colorado, okay? Colorado had a power play, and I think our payroll close to the deadline was, we'll call it, I'm not exaggerating, maybe 15 million. And I was making $1 million of it, which is way too much for what I was doing.
And you were on the bench. What the hell?
That night. So, but Colorado had like $45 million on the ice. It was like Sakic, Blake, Patrick Waugh. Like, it was ridiculous. And he leans over to me. He goes, look at this nonsense. He goes, look at that on the ice, and look at this bench. And I was like, we were kind of laughing, and we made a game of it. I think it was 4-2. We lost or whatever. But like, you understand, and I'm not comparing this to Calgary or whatever. What I'm trying to say is, as a player, you're still trying to win. You're still trying to take care of your career. Keep in mind, there are older guys on this roster, or guys are late 20s, early 30s. They have to worry about their career. You always worry about your own, your own brand in a vacuum, because not a lot of people are like, hey, we want a piece of a guy off an expansion team. We want a piece of a guy on a last place team or whatever. You're always worrying. Your competitive nature is that you want to play hard and you want to have your best game no matter what. And if you happen to come up short, so be it. You practice hard the next day and you go at it. So I don't know, Rhett, to answer your question, like, if guys, the mentality, because even me in an expansion team, and then me coming to Calgary and us not making the playoffs, and Daryl coming in near the end of the year and saying, like, I'm holding everybody accountable. Keep in mind, you guys are over 30, and you're not going to play in the league if you're going to be on losing teams. Like, you have to try right to the end. So I remember me having the anxiety of, like, I got to have a great game today, regardless if we win or lose. You're going to individually care about your product. So I think that's what it comes back to translating. Nazem Kadri is going to worry about what he can bring to the table nightly, and Coleman and Rasmus Andersson, and you name it. And then those young players who are just trying to establish who they are, they're going to have their best, try to have their best game too. So you don't think about, God, we're in last place or we're in this place. You think about, what can I do today to try and win a game? That's kind of what I think they need to have, that mentality, so that you're not, it doesn't become a long year. Like, I felt like I was on an expansion team. It didn't feel like that long of a year because we were in every game. Like, we battled hard. We just didn't end up winning a lot of games, but we weren't embarrassing ourselves or losing, if that made sense, like losing and getting crushed every night.
So I think we're all on the same page. Like, it's got to be fun. but you're also 32nd. Like there's 32 teams in the league. You're dead last. The teams you're chasing are 2 points above you, and they've got 2 and 1 games in hand. Like as much as it's like, yay, you beat the Sharks. Like you are what you are. So like when do things start to change? Because Nazem Kadri might not have a contract after this one. Like he'll be 38 when this thing expires. He's got 3 years left. Blake Coleman's on pace for 30 goals. He's quietly like maybe the only guy on this team that's overshot what you'd expect him to do offensively. He's got 2 years left, has a couple rings. He's in his mid-30s. You know, Rasmus Andersson knows that his contract extension conversation with the Flames did not lead to anything substantial and that he's expected to be traded. Like it's November 14th. Where are we at when all of a sudden, like walk me forward a month if you're still in 32nd? Like when do these conversations happen? Because I can understand Flames management being like, listen, we don't get a lot when we trade guys this time of year. Let's let it play out. You know, we're playing better. But at some point, reality is reality. You're dead last, and you got to make sure that you give yourself the best chance to get an impact guy at the draft.
Okay, so it's a great point. I don't know, but I'm going to pose a counter question or more a counter thought, and this will continue the conversation. You just mentioned it. When do you figure that you're going to be able to get the most for your assets? So is it right now where teams are starting to, that have had slow starts to go, God, we need player X? You know, I've been looking at Kadri for 2 years. Let's see if he's available. Rasmus Andersson, yeah. So is a team, you know, name me a team that would covet Rasmus Andersson.
The Leafs.
Okay,
Dallas.
so
Yeah.
Dallas or the Leafs. Like take it. Well, Dallas has had success. The Leafs haven't. So does that make Tree more desperate to go? I need him today as opposed to 3 months from now. And then Connie's got to figure out, what am I going to get? Am I going to get more for Rasmus 3 months from now, or am I going to get that king's ransom for him right now? That's the multi-million-dollar questions. That's why at the start of the conversation, I believe in Connie. I believe in whatever he unfolds, he's going to do what's best for the organization. So if Connie's, if there's a desperate manager out there, or there's a team out there that's going, we want your player, but we have to have him right now because of where we are in the standings, or then maybe Connie, to answer your question, Pinder, maybe the deal gets done sooner. But I think with time, as teams start to get a little bit more, we'll call it desperate, or maybe looking at their own internal situation, then maybe the cost of doing business comes up because a month from now there's an injury that we didn't track.
Yeah, Conroy might be ready to do a deal today, but if the offers aren't there, then it's
it's about what he wants in return.
Well, and to be fair, like there's 2 windows where deals happen in this league. It's late June before the draft, and it's the deadline. And those happen because GMs know that's when you can get bidding wars.
Are the Leafs finally, on the same?
Yeah.
What are the Leafs? Because are the Leafs are they making the playoffs?
I don't know. I mean,
and like that's the thing for the Anderson's conversation for me.
But
you want to make the playoffs.
Well, listen, in a perfect world, Rhett, what do the Leafs miss most right now? Let's get Austin Matthews. He'll be back. So Joseph Woll is going to come back. But I'm saying, if you just look at the structure of their team, what do they need? They probably need a right shot defenseman who can play on the power play and move the puck.
A puck mover. They got all these shutdown physical big D that can't move the puck. And all of a sudden it's like, yeah, we can't get out of our own zone. Well, because you brought in all these big Lugans that don't move the puck well.
Right. So you're right. So my point being is, Rasmus might be coveted, but again, what do the Leafs have to offer? They don't have any first rounders. They gave the first rounder, 2 of them last year, one for Scott Lawton, one for Brandon Carlo. And they give up Fraser Minton for Brandon Carlo.
Prospect and a first for a guy that they pivoted to after they couldn't get Anderson. Like that's what the market was for Anderson last year.
Okay, so you just mentioned it. That was at the deadline when the market went up.
Yeah.
Carlo got that. What does Anderson get if you wait and you time it properly, or it becomes the marketplace? Now, again, does Anderson, he controls some of this too, correct?
If you want to deal with him with extension, if you're dealing him as a straight rental, no. But you're going to want to get more, so you probably want a team he's going to extend with.
Right. So Does Rasmus Andersson want to go to an organization? Who knows? Whether it's the Leafs or it's Dallas or whatever. Again, he controls that part. But I don't have a definitive answer for you. But that's why I was trying to pose the counter thought as to when is the sweet spot to pull the trigger on these moves. Is it earlier when somebody may be desperate? But are you going to be able to get a king's ransom, or do you have to wait until the marketplace heats up and you've got multiple suitors? Because I would argue when Calgary's are where they are in their standings right now, Craig Button used to joke all the time, and he would tell us, we're sitting in a boardroom. He goes, when you're struggling, there's 30 other managers that call you and go, you know what? I'll do you a favor. I'll take that player off your hands.
Yeah.
And he would always joke. It was always like, yeah, I'll take Jerome McGinley off your hands for a 5th rounder. They're like, okay, you just hang up the phone. He said Glenn Sather would call him all the time. Like, just let me know. I've got a 2nd rounder here for Jerome. Just let me know, and he would laugh and go, this guy's, trying to school me. But that's the type of stuff. So you think Connie's probably fielding calls and they're going, you know what? You guys are where you are. You're probably going to do this. So we want you to take on our problems. Here's a bad contract for you. Here's, so I think Connie has to sit and listen and field everything, but he is dealing from a position of strength he has really good assets that people do want, but you've got some time to let this all sort out. And these veterans are going to help these young players continue to grow. So I don't have a definitive answer, but I think it's very curious to see, when Connie sits back. They just had the GM meetings. I'm sure there was probably people trying to pick his pocket down there and say, when you want to move this player, just call me. I've got a 7th rounder for you. So who knows?
The old, you got something?
I was, by all means.
Well, Thanksgiving's coming up. It's always referred to as kind of
Where are you at U.S. Thanksgiving?
Yeah. What are who are teams that you're seeing? Like, I'm looking at standings. So Calgary's in the bottom, Nashville's in the bottom, Buffalo, St. Louis, a little bit surprising. But like the Leafs are near the bottom, and there's good teams above them that they've got to jump over to get to spots. And these young teams out east seem to be playing well. Is there a concern in Leafland?
Yes, there should be, because I think there's a concern because, first of all, I thought there was going to be an adjustment with the loss of Mitch Marner. He's a great player.
Yeah.
But not only the loss of him, but the type of player he was. He's a very, very elite complementary player. And what I mean by that is I think he's a star, but he makes other players around him better. So you think about it. He was the guy on the...
Oh, no.
Oh, Winnipeg.
Oh, no. You can't try. You just can't in Winnipeg. You just can't.
What's going on? You got me? Or
Oh,
not?
you're back.
What happened?
It
I don't
stalled.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, all of a sudden I saw faces. I'm like, is this me or you? Okay, let me start over. Where was I at? Mitch Marner?
I don't know. I blacked.
Yes, Marner. He's a unique
we know
player.
he's good. Yeah, you weren't going to
What I'm
replace
saying
him,
is
the player.
He's an elite puck mover, okay? A puck transporter. So all of a sudden you've got to adjust your power play breakout because he's a guy who would skate it up and distribute on the half wall. 5-on-5, he'd draw people towards him, and a beautiful pass, and Austin Matthews would rip it home. Matthew Nice, big body, get to the front of the net. He gets a tap in because of Marner. So you're losing one elite player off your roster. I get it. And you replace it, with more depth. Waugh and guys like that, Michelli, who has a little bit of skill, all that type of stuff. So they got to learn to play without him. Austin Matthews knows how to play hockey. He's fine. William Nylander, John Tavares. They kept the same D core. They're 1 year older. I don't know if they're slower, but they don't have a puck transporter. Morgan Riley's a good skater. He's pretty methodical, jumps into the play, but they don't have anybody else that makes, tape to tape rocket passes, 2 zones. Oliver Ekman-Larsson can do it in flashes. He hasn't done it. He's done it in the past, but he's 34 years old now. So I think they need at least a D. And then up front, their depth is really challenged. John Tavares has 11 goals.
He's been awesome.
He's been awesome. Been awesome. And very consistent and a pro. William Nylander's got a bunch of points, but he's William Nylander. Missed 2 assignments last night that cost him goals. Matthew Nice had good points, but he's not. He's not a puck transporter. He's more go get the puck and he can make plays. So they miss Marner. And then their goaltending, which bailed them out last year. Stolarz he's had to play as a 1. He's not a 1. He's a tandem guy. And then they had Hildeby play last night. It wasn't his fault. And Joseph Wall has been gone. He hasn't played a game yet. They've just called him up here today. So I think they've got lots of things. I would say for Treat, don't make a knee-jerk reaction. But this team, the Atlantic doesn't have a bad team.
No.
They don't, including Buffalo. I don't think Buffalo's a bad team. I think they got good players. They might not play with like a team some nights, but they got a lot of good players. And they got to sort some stuff out there with Alex Tuch. But I just look at the Atlantic. There's no weak teams there. So, Tampa's woken up, even though they gave up a 7 spot the other night. Tampa's fine. Florida's fine. Boston is a really good team, like team. Like they play a team game. I think Marco Sturm changed I was in Boston last week. He changed their forecheck and their defensive zone a little bit. Took them a little bit to settle in. They lost last night for the first time in 8 games to Ottawa. And that was a close game. It was 5-3. The empty netter, Stützle got 2 at the end. But I look at it, they're in one. So you're getting back to, yes, I still think they can dig out.
They're 2 points out. Like, let's not overstate the situation they're in. Yeah.
They're 500. They're 8-8-2. But we haven't seen their best. So I always try and remove emotion. As in the media and the fans, we can have emotion. But if you're in management, you can't make knee-jerk reactions. I could look at Toronto's roster and say there's probably 4 or 5 guys that played to their capability. The rest, they aren't. So what is it? Can you get more out of those players? Which I think the answer is yes. But how much more? That's what Tree has to figure out. Where is his team's best, and where do I add to make them better? I know we don't talk about Edmonton that much on this, but like I look at Edmonton and same thing. There's good players playing poorly, but they, when they play up to their capabilities, what does that team need? It's glaring. They need a goaltender that will either play with Skinner or play more than Skinner. They need RNH to be healthy. They need Hyman to be healthy, and they need some of these young players to push through. When you get to that level, then you decide what your team needs. So when it comes back to Toronto, it's glaring for me. They need their goaltending to stable. They need health, all of that type of stuff. But they'd still need a puck-moving defenseman. That's the one thing I think that would help them.
Well, I was going to ask you the Flames have 4 regulation wins in 19 games.
Yeah.
The Oilers have 4 regulation wins in 19 games. It's not been a good start up there. And we talked about it the other day. Like, thank God they got that McDavid thing done, because can you imagine if they were performing like this and he had no extension in his pocket? Like,
and to go that far and not even look, like to go right to the season opener. Like,
so, I mean,
why don't you just take a look?
That's water under the bridge. But you say you watch a little bit.
If you look at it, he's part of the problem. He's not playing very well.
Wow. I mean, come on. Like, I think in this league, the challenge is we point to star players and say they're part of the problem. Like, he's leading the league in assists. Is he perfect? No. But the problem is they've got about 12 fourth-line wingers. Like Trent Frederick, they signed to be a middle six guy. He's doing nothing.
Yeah,
but I guess when
Ike Howard's not ready. Savoy's maybe a middle six winger. They don't have any wing depth.
So to your point, Noodles, that when you have good players and they're going to turn it around.
Yeah.
But do you remember it was a couple years ago when they were atrocious at the start of the year? It's like they're going to miss the playoffs. Then they did make the playoffs. They went on a great run. Do you see that? Not that they need to go on that kind of a run, but
sorry, I think they'll come around, and I'm going to jump in only because they went to 2 Stanley Cup finals and lost. That is a drag on your emotional
short off season. It's tough to get amped up.
It sucks.
Yeah, I look at it. I think the one thing is I think that Savoy's a player. Like I think he's really talented, and I think he might be their answer in a top 6. Mangiapane, no, and Frederick, no, hasn't looked good. Their D have been not good as a group. Oof. And that's like I like their D, but they haven't played well. Their goaltending, I've said this, I think I've said this on your show before, but I've said it on Edmonton radio, I've said it on everywhere. Their goaltenders, for the most part, every night are the second best goalie on the ice. That's just the truth. Whoever's been at the other end has been either a better goaltender or has outplayed them for the most part. Skinner's had 2 wins in a row, and I thought he played pretty well in both of them. But last night, Pickard had 6 posts against last night. 6. Columbus hit 6 posts. Edmonton was no good, and it's a back-to-back, and I get it. They're on a 7-game road trip, and but I look at it. They miss Hyman's engine. Like, I think he's a guy who keeps plays alive. He's physical. He keeps a forecheck going. Like, they miss his engine. They miss RNH's brain because he's good on the power play. He moves things around. They're young players. The only one that's pushed through for me is Savoy. I like Howard. To me, I think he might be
American League.
He's a duck.
See ya.
He might have to be packaged up. I think.
No, he's going to go to the American League. Like, honestly, like, you don't see guys at his age come out of college and make an impact. Like, you need time to be conditioned. He's playing bottom 6 minutes in a pro. Last year, he was playing against kids. Like,
what I'm saying though, if for the cost of doing business for them, might have to be one of those young players in a trade. So that's what I'm saying, package. For me, the cost of doing business for them to acquire a goaltender, whether it's UC Saros, who's on an 8-year deal, and I love UC. Like, I think, but I look at Jordan Binnington. Those are the only 2 names that pop off the page for me. If you're going to, but you're going to have to pay to get their services, and you're going to have to find the money to make it work to fit in either one of those contracts. But I do think, again, sitting back, it's weird. I kind of predicted it because they've got 7 new forwards on up front. Not all of them are going to hit. That Tomaszek's 29. He's a high scorer in Europe. His pace isn't there, but he's got good hands around the net. Savoy's 21. Howard's 23. Like, these kids they're trying to settle in on a moving train. But I think that there's still a work in progress. I still think like they need a goaltender. They need to add to that group. And again, I come back to it. The players that are incumbent, you just mentioned them, Pinder, the Fredericks and guys like that have to play better. Like, Roslovic looks like he's settled in there, and he's handles the puck well, done a good job. Not a defensive dynamo, and he's small. So
Mangiapane's minus 15, fellas. And I know that's not the best stat, but to play with one of those 2 megastars, and I know he's got 4 goals, but it's not working. That has been a bust.
Last night, McDavid sent him in on a partial breakaway, and he ended up, Werenski popped the puck off his stick, but he didn't even get a shot away.
The feet aren't there anymore. If he can't get to the spots, he's not going to be a player for you.
Yeah.
And that's been 2 years of that.
They've got some work to do, but again, I look at it. They have the luxury. I don't know if the Pacific is that strong, and I think that they will be fine they'll be a playoff team. I don't think they're going to win the Pacific, anything like that, but that's a team that's still a work in progress. Like, I come back to it. You got to figure out what you have once you get everybody going.
And I think they might get going, and I think those top guys can do even more. Whether you think they've been good, bad, or indifferent, they're still good enough to dominate when they want. The difference is that these teams aren't being judged, and I go back to the Leafs and the Oilers. These teams are not being judged on their ability to make the playoffs.
No, it's a spring.
This is supposed to be deep runs again.
You're right. The concerning thing when you're looking at it is, like, I'll give you an example. We're talking Edmonton and Toronto. Edmonton, you've seen a sample size. They've slow starts, adversity, all of that. They've been able to come out of it. This is Toronto. Toronto's made the playoffs 9 years in a row and been, we'll call it a 100-point team. You're in a killer division now. The Atlantic is murderer's row as far as people getting points every night. And you've had a slow start, and your roster, you've lost off your roster. The Oilers lost Corey Perry. They lost some players, but they didn't lose a 100-point player. They didn't lose, that's the difference with the Leafs is they've lost on paper, a superstar and not been able to replace it. So they've been replacing it by committee, where Edmonton's just trying to get their act together, and they're trying to infuse young players and stuff like that. They're still a work in progress, where I don't know what the Leafs, it's not a work in progress. Tree's got to figure out what he's going to do next.
They are.
Right. Like they're a work in progress, and they have cap space. They just don't have currency to get that player.
Yeah.
And that's at least Edmonton's got their first this year. Like
And
at least have no assets.
currency. And we were just talking about, they've got, if Howard doesn't seem to fit for the group this year and next year, maybe he's packaged. Kulak's on an expiring contract. They like him, but maybe he's attractive to a team that you can move out, or you may need that cap space to fit a goaltender in. There's lots of things you can move deck chairs around. Tree doesn't have a first rounder till 2028. Its top two prospects is Easton Cowan and a guy named Ben Danford. That's it. Like, there's no, unless somebody wants Nick Robertson, who's 23, 24, like
on waivers every year. You don't need to pay for him.
Right. Like, so it's just, there's not a lot. Tree's not dealing from a position of strength as far as currency to grab somebody. That's the difference. So, I am I concerned? I always try and remove emotion, but like, this is uncharted territory for the Leafs at 500 and on the outside of the playoffs, November 4th.
Well, like you said, you're not that far back as far as points, but you've played more games. And
here's the other thing I'll add in. Sorry, they've had if you go to strength of schedule, they've had the easiest schedule in the league. If you look at it, they've played 5 road games, and until last night, LA was one of the only teams that made the playoffs that they've played this year. I think they've only played 5 or 6 games against teams that played in the playoffs last year. Their schedule has been a cakewalk, and they're 500. That's very.
You're going to have to jump a bunch of teams that are going to get points.
And you've played, I believe they played 6 games on the road. That's it. It's been a home fest. I was told, Gord Miller said he did his schedule. They don't leave the time zone until into December. Like, they haven't come out west. There's no, like, Edmonton's gone out here twice, or out east twice. Calgary's gone out east. Like, you look at all these teams, like, the Leafs haven't left their time zone. It's flight into Philadelphia back. It's Boston back. Like, there's been it's been, like, they haven't had a murderer's row going through Colorado, Dallas into, any of those teams either. So it's be interesting to see if they can get out of it and when they start playing some real tough competition.
Well, there's a time change between Calgary and Winnipeg.
Is that right?
There's also a time change between Winnipeg and Toronto. I don't know. We kind of walked through that.
What I was texting you, Boomer, this is why I got all turned around. I had 3 major things I had to do this morning, as well as my workout.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my financial guy, and I had it marked in my calendar. 11:30, I'm on with you guys. Okay. Right. For some reason, that clock was all screwed up, and I'm texting Boomer. I'm like, I'm running late. And he's like, you're not on for another hour, you idiot. And I was like, okay, fair enough. So I extended my phone call with my financial guy, and then now I'm on with you guys. So I'm good. Now I have to leave the hotel here in 50 minutes.
Finances are good. Everything's okay. We're all right.
So many to pay for the bills.
Well, listen, everybody's finances are up in arms with what's going on in the world and Canadian government, you name it. That's another podcast. We don't want to get going on that. But yes, you have to stay on top of things.
So you're happy to be in Winnipeg. What about Jeff O'Neill? How happy is the O-Dog?
He was good yesterday. They brought a horse. So, like, I don't know if you know this CFL tradition. There's always a horse that, like, shows up.
Calgary.
It's the Calgary horse.
Stampeders.
Quick 6 after a touchdown. The horse runs.
But this horse was from Ontario. We met yesterday.
Okay.
Tuffy. We met Tough. Animals don't like me, and it was giving me like the horse side eye. I was like, oh God.
It's kind of how horses are.
He gave me the horse eye. Yeah. But I went and pet Tuffy, and O-Dog got a picture. We got a picture with the horse. They brought the horse to the Boston Pizza, and we hung out with it for a second, and then it moved on. But where we talked about it is years ago, I think like 10 or 11 years ago, they had the Grey Cup in Toronto, and we were at the Royal York Hotel, one of the nicest hotels in Toronto. Mm-hmm. We were on the second floor and looking down to the lobby, and I looked down and there was a horse in the lobby.
That's a tradition as old as time that they bring the horse into the Royal York.
And I said, there's a horse downstairs. And the the doormen were beside themselves. There was like a guy on a horse come in, and I'm like, this horse is going to take a dump in the middle of the lobby, and it was outrageous.
Great
like,
cup noodles. Come on.
It's burned into my mind. There was a horse in the lobby. So we met Tuffy the horse yesterday. We got a few pictures with them. Fans were great at Boston Pizza. It was great. It was great.
I love that Noodles is in Winnipeg for the Grey Cup. It's the crown jewel of the Canadian Football League. Noodles, how's it in Winnipeg? I saw a horse yesterday. I got to pet a horse.
Well, here's the other thing. So they put the Grey Cup beside us on the panel, and the Grey Cup has its own like Philip Pritchard.
Yeah.
So I said, like, can I touch the thing? And they were like, no, you can't. I already touched it. And the guy, like, you could see him like, you're not supposed to be touching it. And then they gave me like white gloves. I was like OJ putting the gloves on, touching it. And it was outrageous. It was awesome. I touched the Grey Cup yesterday. I've never touched the Stanley Cup in my life, and I'll never win it. And even like every summer I get invited to buddies' cup parties and that. I've never touched it. I don't know why.
Well, once Connie hires you, you'll get one. Don't worry.
Never touched it. I hate the damn thing.
I went to Mike Commodore's cup. I've been to 10 cup parties, maybe more, but I've never touched the thing. I don't know why. I probably should.
When you're an owner, you'll win it.
No,
with all your financials, you keep working on your financials. You'll get.
No. This is what you do. You put some pressure on your kid. That's how you make your kid. You have to win it.
Yeah.
You win it, then I'll touch it. You win.
Why do you know that's a conversation that's been had in the Warner
household?
For
sure.
My son's 8, and I don't think I ever get
it's motivation. I thought
Toronto, you got to be crazy.
He did win his game. This is Toronto hockey. We had to pull him out of school this morning. He's in a hockey tournament.
In the States, the tournaments start on Thursday and they go to Monday. They don't. Don't care.
So, anyways, I was watching my son through FaceTime.
Kick ass.
Well, they won 4-2 today. Whatever it was.
Were the two good goals at least?
Yeah, my wife is hard on him. My wife's like, "Oh, he gave up a bad goal." I'm like, "You find a bad goal in your world." Like, it's like, "Oh, it went through a 5-hole." Even he knew he did his little routine after. I'm like, "What's his routine?" You know?
Mom's in, eh? Wow.
She's a critic. I just sit there, I'm watching my phone, and she's critiquing and breaking down an 8-year-old's technique. So I don't know. It is
glad you enjoyed your omelet. Enjoy Winnipeg. And what's because I know you're deep into it. You'll be looking at stats. What's the key for the Grey Cup?
What's your prognosis, prediction, whatever the hell you call it?
Yeah.
Give us your take.
Prognostication.
Rhett, you'll be mad at me. I went against the grain. I took Montreal to win. Well, they've been talking about this quarterback getting his hamstring out with their.
He hasn't lost as a starter.
I know, but also they're like his hamstring. They're doing work on it 5 times a day. I go,
yeah,
do it 100 times a day. You're not going to heal a hamstring, but apparently he's had a hamstring surgery or something before. So I don't know. I don't know if his hamstring will hold up or not.
That's the key to the game.
A lot of my friends are Rider fans, and I probably should lean towards them. But you realize I grew up before they became the Elks, an Eskimo fan. I used to work for the Edmonton Eskimos. I saved Commonwealth Stadium. Remember that from a huge fire when I was 17 working for Joey Moss.
Were you part of the knot hole gang? Is that what it was?
Streaking the field and jumping in the hot tub? Is that how you're saying?
Did you also start the fire?
I did not start the. I've told you guys this story, have I not? You guys don't know the story of how I saved Commonwealth Stadium?
Next week.
It's going to be good. I could tell. This is what a cliffhanger.
Tell it if you want me to go. I've got 3 minutes before I got to go.
Let's go.
Good luck.
Okay, so when I was from 16 to 19 years old, I worked for the Edmonton Eskimos for 2 weeks, every training camp in June, because I was close with Dwayne Mandruzek, their equipment guy, and Robbie Strecker. So I knew them. They would pay me like $500 or whatever, and me and Joey Moss would do their laundry. So they did 2 a days. I would drive over in the Eskimos truck from Commonwealth Stadium to, I think it was Concordia College where they were practicing. We would take their underwear, drive it back, wash it, dry it, fold it, and then bring it back for the second one, bring that stuff back, wash it, dry it, and I'd leave for the day. So Joey would stay there. I would drive it back to Commonwealth, wash it, dry it, fold it, and bring it back. But I would have Commonwealth Stadium to myself. So I would run the stairs. I would train. I'd run the stairs, run the track, do whatever. They had a gym. I'd watch TV, and you're doing laundry. I was the laundry boy for 2 weeks. And I was sitting there on the phone watching TV, and I heard this like crash. So I go into the laundry room. They have these giant like washers, giant dryers. And I was drying the laundry, and it was, those big circle drums. And a spark came out with this ring, and it was like floating in front of me. And I could see there was like a fire. So out of nowhere, the door pops open and sparks come flying out. And I was wearing a long sleeve shirt, and it lights me on fire. So I stop, drop, and roll, and I get myself out of being on fire. But now the laundry thing was spinning, and the laundry keeps falling into the fire. So it takes off. So a fire takes off. So I'm the only guy. So I run, I call 911, and I go fire at Commonwealth Stadium, Eskimos dressing room. I hook up a garden hose in their bathroom, and I run it back in, and it's just like pissing water out, and I'm fighting this fire, and my arm was on fire, and there's soot everywhere, black smoke, and all of a sudden the fire department come, and they just boom, put it out over my shoulder. But I had like soot all over, my shirt was burned off, and I saved Commonwealth Stadium from burning to the ground. Basically, I saved it.
That's unbelievable.
And
Wow.
the article in the paper next day said Eskimos laundry goes up in flames. Because some of those guys lost their laundry because
no.
Geez, yeah. Undies, lucky ones.
So it wasn't all success.
Well, it was a success. I mean, you'd rather lose the whole stadium, but I mean, I fought. And the weirdest thing is I was supposed to go out drinking with my buddies that day, and I got home, and I had like soot all over my face, and my sleeve was burnt off. So I had to shower up and change before we went out drinking.
I thought you were going to say the weirdest thing is that you didn't go out, but I'm glad that you followed through.
I like how he just casually rolled over that he didn't start the fire, even though it was the dryer. Yeah,
I didn't start the fire. Why would I?
Yeah, someone else is on dryer duty, right?
Faulty wiring in the dryer. There you go.
This flaming ring is floating in the air.
Just out of nowhere, this ring comes flying out.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is that? But then you could see there was a fire going on behind it, and then the door just popped open.
You're just lucky they didn't have cameras back then. You're probably
the action there.
Ripping darts, smashing in the dryer.
Enjoy Winnipeg, buddy.
Okay.
Love you.
Thanks. Take care.
Hey, buddies, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Also, if you could throw in a like and subscribe, it does help us out with what it is we are doing. And check out more at flamesnation.ca.